Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to Forever United TV. Welcome along to the weekend. It is Friday, and ahead of Ruben Amorim's press conference this lunchtime, which we will have live here on Forever United TV, everybody, we are talking Manchester United in the news again this morning regarding the transfer situation. Big update from Fabrizio Romano. Going to bring you that clip on Manchester United's main midfield target, potentially this January. Another familiar name has been brought back up onto the scene again and is being talked about as well as a potential target for Manchester United in midfield. We're going to talk about that, but the big story is Bruno Fernandes and many others on the 10 to 11 man list of players that are going to be axed, released, sold, whatever it is you want to say, this summer, so Manchester United can take full advantage of the financial fair play boost that they've got going into the first season of the squad to ratio rule and really go to town in backing Ruben Amorim. The word from Manchester United is that the hierarchy are still aware that only just over 200 million has been spent on Ruben Amorim and he needs more. So is that a get out of jail card for Ruben this season with what INEOS is saying there, or reportedly saying as well? Got all of that and your live comments as well, everybody. Get in there and let me know what you're thinking and let me know what you want to happen more importantly. You would have noticed before we get into all of that, yes, I'm looking a bit dapper for a morning show this morning. Well, that's because it's Good Friday, everybody. It's not Good Friday, sorry, it's Black Friday. It could be a Good Friday, but I don't know what you're up to, but Black Friday is here, people, and the deals are on. Legend London has hooked up with us here on Forever United TV. They've given me the gear, the overshirts, the t-shirt underneath. This is a muscle fit one, and what it's like, you know, come on. But there is different varieties of shirts on there and mega sales on there right now, everybody. Up to 75% off on the Black Friday deal right now. Get it while you can. That's a 5% extra if you use promo code FUTV on checkout on any item on Legend London's website right now. Everything from jeans to footwear to overshirts to shirts, t-shirts, jumpers, hoodies, everything is on there right now and is absolutely jam-packed with sales and mega clearance sales on top of Black Friday and the FUTV discount code. Get in there right now, everybody. Get your deals now while you can. Black Friday is here. It ends today, of course, and it's only going to be today when you get 70+% off. So get on it right now, everybody. Legend London, they're absolutely piling on the discounts, including this big one today here with FUTV. FUTV on promo code. The link is in the live chat and is the top link in the description, everybody, to get onto that. Right, let's get into the Manchester United news and let's get on to everything that's going on around, well, I won't say beloved club at the moment. I think it's one of them times where we're all a little bit upset and annoyed with our team, isn't it? And we don't like them. We don't like them at the moment. Do Manchester United like them? Are there going to be any members of this hierarchy, this new structure and management team that hold any of these players accountable for an underperforming season if it happens? Of course, still a third into the season, things could change and we hope that they do change, but the inevitable seems to be that Manchester United are falling into the same sort of trap as we have done the last few seasons, underperforming, few good wins and then the fall off. Is that going to be good enough this season? Well, we spoke last night about Manchester United's hierarchy giving Ruben Amorim the time he needs. They don't think he has been backed enough yet. Does that tell us something about January? More on that in a moment, actually. But Ruben Amorim getting the time that he needs. Well, if these players don't turn up now from this point to the end of the season, in fact, where were they from the start of the season to where we are now is something that many fans would also say. But if they don't turn up now, remember that sign? Remember, it was a couple of seasons ago. Cast your minds back to Manchester United playing against Fulham, and there was a banner held up in the crowd, "Play like you mean it." And United went on to win that game, and I think it was 2-0 against Fulham. It feels like one of them moments is coming again. And Crystal Palace down in London, at weird kickoff time again. It just seems like it's the same scenario coming again. And I think we're going to get a rebound performance from Manchester United Sunday when we play Crystal Palace. I just got that feeling that that's what's coming. But it's still not good enough. I know that. And there is reports from ESPN of Manchester United, obviously off the back of the news with the the power to spend and the financial fair play rules, which is beneficial for United, that to do that, they are going to absolutely dissect Manchester United's so-called deadwood, underperforming, not being played as much type of players, the ones that we just don't think are good enough for Manchester United. And that includes, according to this list, Bruno Fernandes as well. The Manchester United captain is up there and is still going to be axed if Manchester United underperform this season. I mean, if United don't get into Europe, I think they've got to let Bruno Fernandes go anyway. And I think he'll walk anyway. So I think that is there. But I'm just going to run through the list of players because there is quite a few on this list. There is a lot that we can sort of say yes, no, maybe so. I mean, you give me your opinions when I read through these players. But these are official players that are still registered at Manchester United. So you can imagine some loans coming here. So how do Manchester United create £109 million worth of wages off the books? How do we get to that point? And on top of that, transfers and transfer fees that we're expected to get in. So here is the list. Players who could be sold this summer. I don't think we're going to get rid of anyone in January. This is my personal opinion, but we'll see anyway. But these are the players. And tell me if you would actually lose sleep over any of these players leaving right now. And I think this will tell us exactly where we're at as a United fan base with this team. Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte, Marcus Rashford, Rasmus Højlund, Casemiro, Jadon Sancho, Harry Maguire, Altay Bayindir, Joshua Zirkzee, Tyrell Malacia. Oh, I mean, when you add it up alone, it's quite scary because let's count out the players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that list of 11 players are not contributing for Manchester United at all, which is pretty remarkable when you look at it. And it goes to show how poorly the club has been run to get to this point where we need this sort of exodus. Remember the video we did the other day? We did a live show where we was talking about the next rebuild for Ruben Amorim. He's safe. INEOS want to keep him and he is going to be in charge for the next rebuild. So pretty much saying that he is going to be in charge no matter what happens this season come the summer. I disagree with that, and you all know my stance on this. I would like to see Ruben Amorim see out the season. I would like to. I'm obviously aware of the inevitable if things go completely Pete Tong, and I've made that clear this week. But also, on top of that, if we do not get into Europe, Ruben Amorim needs to be sacked. I don't care about the rebuild. I don't care about the money that's not been put into it. I think this is enough time and it's fair judgment because, like I said, and if you can go back and you can say that I'm flip-flopping or whatever you want to say, I'm not, because at the start of the season I said this team without European football and distraction should have more than enough to at least get into Europe this season. Nottingham Forest did it last season. Newcastle did it last season. And Man United, if this squad of players cannot get European football and he cannot get the best out of this with every single bit of preparation after saying that he needs time on a training ground and they need more time to work on the system and figure things out, I'm sorry, no. What needs to happen in the summer, if Manchester United do not get into European football, is this list of players can go and the manager can go with it and his coaches, for me. That's my stance on it. You may say it's a bit more brutal than where I was the other day, but again, I don't think people were getting where I was the other day with Ruben Amorim. I want to give this man the same amount of time as Erik Ten Hag got. So the 2-year period, Ten Hag got more. Ruben Amorim is going to get less, and we're still calling for his head at the end of the season. Look, some people may think that he's gone before that anyway, and only results will determine what happens there. But this list of players shows you exactly where Manchester United are at right now. When you look at, for instance, Jadon Sancho and the money that he's on, who could you bring into Manchester United for the Jadon Sancho value right now? I mean, seriously? You could go out there and get Elliot Anderson for the price that it's costing Manchester United for Jadon Sancho. That's what you're dealing with. So that at the moment is out of the books of Manchester United and we cannot use that player. Then you move on to Marcus Rashford. My God, but who do you want to pick out of that? That could be any player in the world right now that's costing Manchester United wage-wise with what he is being paid. You move on to Casemiro, you could go out and buy Antoine Semenyo with the price it's costing Manchester United for Casemiro. You get where I'm going with it. These are players that are being paid for by United. Yes, this season they're on loan and the club that they're at are paying their loan fee. I get all of that. But also, when you look at the situation with United now, when you look at it, and what we could be bringing in for these players that we're not using. I could actually add Kobbie Mainoo to Man United, not really featuring there as well. I put Joshua Zirkzee in. So really, out of them 11 players there, you're probably looking at about 4 that really contribute to Manchester United, which is Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire. Man, you could even bring Manuel Ugarte into the equation when you look at it. That's absolutely staggering. It's ridiculous how there's that many players on that amount of money, and that amount of money accumulates what Manchester United have been talking about and quoting. That pretty much brings you nearly £2 million a week in wages, and there's only 3 players that you would put into that Manchester United starting 11. It's an absolute disgrace, and this should be all on this list for exiting the football club next year. Manager aside and coach aside and everything that's gone wrong and what you think tactics-wise, for God's sake, that is an absolute farce. It's also a joke that right now. Them players that I've just named there, that are just not doing anything, that are costing Manchester United that amount of money. Can you imagine that amount of money being spent on a Liverpool? Well, no, let's leave Liverpool out of it at the moment. But Arsenal, City, Chelsea, where that money's gone on their wage bill, the equivalent of, I bet they've got a lot more players contributing for that amount of money that's being wasted. Well, I say wasted at United because it's not wasted elsewhere because it's being used. And that's the point I'm trying to make. This is what you're up against here. The accountability factor within these players, this coach, everything at Manchester United needs to change. And at the end of this season, if they don't turn it around, then they can all bleeding go. I don't care. That's more than enough time for everyone. These players, I mean, we don't even have to talk about time for these players. They should have probably gone a long time ago, most of them. So, yeah, this is the problem that we've got, and this is the situation that is now here at Manchester United. And this, I don't know if this is why INEOS are giving the excuse to Ruben Amorim, because he has got this problem to deal with. I mean, last season we've seen the exodus, which was big, and that's not even touched the surface, has it? It's got nowhere near it. So when you look at that list of players and you look at the situation that we're in right now, you can sort of figure out why INEOS are giving Ruben this bit of time, because he's still dealing with a lot. And you know what the difference is in this? And we haven't spoken about this. And Jason Wilcox was talking about it a couple of weeks ago. The fact that he's on the ground watching everything and he can see the players, he can see what's going on. I think he is the connection from Ruben to the hierarchy at Manchester United, the top brass, the top guys at the top there. And that's the communication that wasn't there before. Look, I'm piecing things together here and trying to guess myself. I'm not saying this is a definite, but you have to just look as to reasons why we wouldn't even be thinking about moving Ruben Amorim on. Maybe Wilcox has seen something else in there that really isn't right, and he knows that Ruben needs better players in, and he needs a little bit more time to work with them players when they come in. Look, I'm guessing. I'm totally guessing at this, but that list of players there, I mean, what can you fetch value-wise out of that? Bruno Fernandes, 50 million. Kobbie Mainoo, 40 to 50 million. Ugarte, 30 million. Straight away there, what you're looking at, 130 million with them. Rashford will be 26 million, 156 million. Rasmus Højlund is going to be 38 million for us in the summer. That's what you're looking at there. You're getting closer there to 190 plus million. Casemiro's a free. Jadon Sancho's a free. Harry Maguire's a free. You're not going to get much for Altay Bayindir. Joshua Zirkzee, 25 million. Tyrell Malacia's a free. He's going to go for nothing. So out of 11 players there that are costing Manchester United nearly £2 million a week in wages, you're going to scrape together just about 200 million for them players if you sold them. That's probably book market value pricing as well right now. If you go onto many websites, they'll probably confirm that. From what I've seen anyway, that's where the figures are. And with only 3 or 4 of them players really contributing to Manchester United, I don't think it's a bad outcome from an absolutely shocking situation, is it? It really isn't. So when you look at that and put it all in perspective, you can see and maybe defend what Ruben is doing a tiny little bit, not a lot, because some will say that Kobbie should be used more, and we don't know. Zirkzee should have been given more game time, therefore he would have a better chance when he came on the pitch and was ready to go rather than looking rusty as hell. Why is Tyrell Malacia still here? Why did you buy the likes of Rasmus Højlund and Manuel Ugarte? There's loads. Let's not forget, Ruben in that squad and that list of players there had nothing to do with any of them players coming into Manchester United. They're all old guard that we've always talked about needed to be moved on. You've got a bit of a debate there regarding the Kobbie Mainoo situation. Out of all of them, that's it. Like, Kobbie Mainoo is a debate right now whether he stays or he goes. Everyone else, you've got the perfect excuse to get rid of them. That's 10 players. 10 first-team international players that you have got no issue with moving on from Manchester United. How is that even possible? How do you even get to this stage? It's through shocking management, recruitment and running of a massive football club. That's what that is. And that does sometimes need to be put into perspective and put into the bigger picture in things when we're looking at other things around the players and the manager and that sort of discussion. So, look, I'm not making any excuses for where we are right now. I got no excuse for Ruben Amorim and his performance against Everton. I got no excuse for the players. I got no real time or sympathy for the players or any player in this Man United squad apart from the players that were brought in the last 2 summers. I've got a bit of sympathy for underperforming players like Manuel Ugarte. Why was he brought in? Why? Who recruited him? Do you know what I mean? This is a mess between INEOS, Dan Ashworth and that whole saga there. Joshua Zirkzee, where was he ever going to play? Where was he ever going to play? I keep saying it. Does anybody know what that man's position is? No one's got a clue. This summer, we went out and bought players for very, very specific positions, and they all start when they're fit. No issue with that at all. That's where it should be and how it should be going forward for me. Look, I've said enough there. I'm going to get into the comment section on this now. Let's open this up for everybody and let's get some chat going here. We do have a couple of, we have one super chat in from Ross Early Doors there who says, so if Barcelona pick up the option on Rashford for 26 and 26 goals into the club's pocket, but the more important thing is weekly wages, that would clear. Yeah. The transfer fee is good for Manchester United because it's pure profit on Marcus Rashford. And with the new squad to ratio rule that is coming in, that is really beneficial to any football club. So it's trying to push teams into making money through player sales. So there's going to be a big emphasis on selling players as well to get net transfer profits and things like that. And that would be big for United. But the wage wars, like you said there in the super chat, thank you, my man. That is the be-all and end-all and the all-important thing because all of them players put together in wages has been it's been put together wage-wise and comes in at around about £100 million a year for Manchester United. And like I said, £100 million a year in wages and a push of them players in that 11-man list are contributing week in, week out right now. It just blows my mind as to how that has been allowed to happen at Manchester United. And there is still a massive job at hand here to try and get Manchester United back on the straight and narrow. We're nowhere near it yet. We're seeing tiny signs of improvement. But maybe this is where INEOS are going with this whole big project. They've seen what's happened before. They know that a manager needs time. And they know that they have got to do a shed load of work if they are to make it work for Ruben Amorim. Because he is very, very stubborn in his ways. And if they're going to back him, then they're going to need to give him a lot more to make it work. So this is on INEOS as well now. So no bailout for INEOS. No sympathy for them either. They knew what they were getting into. And the good that is coming in that I can see is probably just going to be, it's going to take a lot longer to actually really start to work for Manchester United, I feel. And I think that's the reality right now. The squad is crap. That's it when it comes to depth. You can maybe put a good 11 players out on the pitch, which was my point about winning a place in the top 4 because we've got no European football and we really shouldn't need a massive squad. But you've seen missing a couple of them new players and what that means for Manchester United against Everton. And maybe I overlooked that because I was expecting people to stay fit. And obviously, you could always take injuries into consideration in a season. It does affect things. AFCON is going to kill us. It really is. If we perform like we did against Everton, AFCON is going to be a massive problem for Man United. Eric Ten Hag wanted Zirkzee. That was his idea to buy him. The scouts recommended Desiree Doué. I don't need to say any more. I keep saying and have said it for 2 to 3 years now. We are going nowhere while Bruno, Maguire, Dalot and Shaw are in the side. Real change starts when Bruno leaves, like it or not. But you still got to replace Bruno Fernandes, Carl. Bruno is not the problem at this football club. He's not. It's the people that keep trying to change things around him and move him around. Drop him to the bench. You see where I'm going with this? Bruno isn't a problem. Why has nobody got the backbone to drop him to the bench and try and change something else? He is doing something, or is outperforming these players in this squad to a level where he can never be dropped. Does that not show you how bad the rest of the squad is, though? That you cannot afford to take Bruno Fernandes out because he might just do something. Bruno is not the problem at Manchester United. I'm going to keep on saying that because he isn't. And you're right in a way, Carl, because change will come when Bruno leaves, because we'll have to change the whole shape of this team and squad to try and find another way of getting wins and points and getting our numbers up, because he brings so much to United. So that is where the problem is. It's the people in charge. And you could blame Ruben more than Bruno. Bruno shouldn't be in that position. He should either be on the bench competing with the 10s or in the 10s because he's outperformed the other 10s in the team. Not at 8, trying to subsidise us not being able to get a bleeding midfielder in the summer. The old guard do need to go. I'm with everybody on that. And we will be forced to see change because they have gone. At the moment, we're just keeping them because we haven't got any other options, it seems, which is poor on its own. Maguire should not be getting a new deal at the end of the season. Neither should Casemiro, unless that is absolutely ridiculously lower than what they're on right now. But I don't think, from what we've seen so far, that I don't think anyone at Manchester United, higher up that is going to be bothered if Casemiro and Harry Maguire have left the football club at the end of the season, because they won't accept a new contract. They're not going to give them a new deal. It's as simple as that. A big part of our problem is when we didn't sell Bruno and bought 2 number 10s in the summer. I think we have discussed this before. We had an abundance of 10s. If we were going to bring in 10s, why didn't we move the likes of Xerxes on in the summer? Or maybe look to move Kobbie Mainoo on? Like, we just looked at it completely the wrong way. I thought there would have been a thinking that maybe Manchester United would be able to use Kobbie Mainoo, and then Ruben's found out that he just cannot use him in his system through the start of the season, pre-season, whatever it is. Him and Manuel Ugarte were tested out in pre-season together, and it looked good for a little while, and then bang, one game in pre-season, I'm pretty certain it was Everton, where that midfield was completely tore apart by a poor Everton side. And there's a surprise again. That's taking us back to Monday night, isn't it? That, I think, was the convincer. And then we've not known what to do with the Kobbie Mainoo situation from there. We haven't. But look, there's nothing we can do right now. Look, we can go back over the years that Manchester United have made mistake after mistake after mistake. What has happened, and now we need to look at the now. It's pointless going back and crying over spilt milk. It's just not going to change anything now. What happens from here? This is the most important thing. And out of everything that we've just spoken about there, the big thing is the fact that these players could all be gone out of Manchester United come the summer transfer window. And what that gives us is the strength to go out and buy in, well, definitely in the summer. In terms of this January, well, that's a different story again. How much do Manchester United have left in the coffers from the summer sales to bring in potential players? Fabrizio Romano last night, I'm just going to give you the news from him now regarding Joao Gomes. This is what Romano has said regarding the January transfer window for us and the potential of signing Joao Gomes.
Joao Gomes, guys, is one of the names under considerations at Manchester United. Joao Gomes is appreciated, is seen as an opportunity eventually if Wolves decide to let a player go in January. So let's say that Man United have some top targets for 2026, might be summer rather than January, because in the January window it's not easy to do this kind of deals, Baleba, Elliot Anderson and more. But Joao Gomes is not in that kind of step for Manchester United. So it's not considered like an absolute priority, but eventually an opportunity if Wolves decide to let the player go in January. So Joao Gomes could be one to watch, with the player very keen on a move to Manchester United, even without European football this season. So Joao Gomes would be more than happy to go to Man United, but this depends on what happens with Wolves.
Just quickly on the Fabrizio Romano video as well that he has done this week, or yesterday that was, he did confirm that Orozco is arriving soon to complete his deal, so he is ready to move in the summer. That is an actual here we go. I cannot go with the here we go side of things because it's just not a big enough signing, so, but it is an official Romano here we go on Orozco. But on Joao Gomes there, like you've just heard from Fabrizio Romano, Gomes, we now know from the players' side of things, and you heard it from the horse's mouth there, the number one, Fabrizio Romano, has said Joao Gomes would move to Manchester United without European football this January. No problem. It's down to Wolves, and if United can get a deal for Wolves. Now, this was the stumbling block before. Joao Gomes not wanting to move from Wolves was the only thing really that was stopping Manchester United. We now know that he wants the move to happen, confirmed. So that's there. It's whether or not that's sort of gentleman's agreement with Rob Andrews, now manager at Wolves, and the hierarchy there saying that they're not going to sell anyone this summer to give him the best chance. And I said before that, and I think many of the transfer gurus and journalists have said the same thing, the situation can change. Manchester United, like Rob Dawson said, might be going into January with no plans to buy anyone, but 7 more games before we get to that point could go completely wrong and United may be forced into the window. Same with Wolves. If Wolves don't do anything and have still not won a bleeding game in the next few games before we get to January, by the way, they play United twice in that period. Please don't let it be United that give Wolves their first win. I beg you, please. That will send me over the edge. But, for instance, if Wolves don't win any games, Joao Gomes starts to get a little bit of the hump and says, look, get me out of here. And he kicks up a bit of a stink. United make moves behind the scenes to try and encourage him to do so in the right way, of course. Don't want to be doing any of that naughty tapping up stuff behind the scenes and get in trouble, but you get where I'm going with it. If Wolves aren't anywhere nearer to salvation and safety of Premier League survival by the time January comes, Joao Gomes is jumping ship. They're already 2 points from 12. They haven't won a game all season. They're done. There's no investment coming, and maybe they need to sell Joao Gomes to have money there, because they get more money selling him in January, because a relegation clause would probably kick in for Joao Gomes if they got relegated to the Championship. Maybe they need to buy players for the Championship and be ready for that. So that's the situation, and we've had an update on Joao Gomes pretty much every single day this week, and that usually doesn't happen unless something is going on behind the scenes. And then today, Friday, for Fabrizio Romano to come out, as you've just seen there, and confirm that Manchester United are interested. He's on their list, not top of the list. He is further down the pecking order, like Romano says there, but an option in January, and probably one of the only options in January for Manchester United. That, I think, is key in this whole transfer, and whether Joao Gomes comes to Manchester United in January. Do United have the money? It would look like they do. We had the price yesterday was about 50 million to get Joao Gomes in January. I think the decision there then, and what we've got to debate, is whether Joao Gomes is worth 50 million, and are we desperate enough? Do we pay a little bit more for a player that we not 100% certain about? But look, I think he's better than Manuel Ugarte, to be honest, and he would help Manchester United out massively. I think any better midfielder right now that is more combative, and the bonus of Joao Gomes, like I've said all along, he has played the last 2 seasons, or season a bit, with Vitor Pereira in a 3-4-3 as one of the midfielders. It doesn't get more ready-made than that. Discuss and debate the quality of the player by all means. That's always going to be there. But honestly, I think this guy knows the Premier League better than Manuel Ugarte, adapted already to it, is actually, I think, a better all-around player as well. I think he will go to a bigger club in the summer if someone doesn't get him in January. So should United go out and get him? Or do United worry that getting him is stopping them buying one of the bigger players in the summer? Do we forget about Joao Gomes because of that price and spend the money in the summer? It doesn't really matter in terms of values and what Manchester United's targets are. And by that I mean, even if we spend 50 million now of this financial year's money on Joao Gomes, it's not really going to affect the amount of money we can spend in the summer. That's a different plan altogether because it's a new financial fair play year, completely different with the squad to ratio rule. So United have money left over now. Yep, they could always spend that next year as well when the new financial year kicks in on 1st of July. But still, United probably, when you look at it now, it's all about this season and whether or not they're happy for Ruben to not get into Europe. Because if we don't sign a player, I don't think we get into Europe. That's the thing. And if they're happy for him to fail again, in my eyes, in my opinion, you let me know how you feel. If they're happy for that to happen again this season, then you don't buy Joao Gomes and you save the money for the summer. That's the debate right now, isn't it? And that's, I think, the decisions and probably conversations, probably not on them lines like, say, Ruben's going to fail, we're going to keep him still. They're not going to say it like that. They're going to give the excuse, like I said this morning, of Ruben's not had as much money spent on him yet and he's still dealing with a lot of crap that needs to be sent packing out of this squad. Excuses, excuses, excuses. I don't want to hear it. Like I said with the stats last night, you can stick them up your ass. I don't care about XG. I don't care about chances created. I care about goals scored, goals conceded and points on the table and where we are in the league. Yes, clear-cut chances, like I said last night, is probably the only other stat I would look at because if we're creating clear-cut chances, someone's missing them and you know exactly where your problem is. Everything else, sling your up. Don't give a toss. It really doesn't count for me. And I don't want anyone telling me that stats are better than points. They're not. They're not. Even Ruben Amorim said that. So that's from the horse's mouth again. Give me your opinion on this, on Joao Gomes. I mean, do you understand the situation and where we're at right now in terms of do we not buy anybody? If the right player isn't there in January, do we just save it? There's a lot of people saying we need to buy players in January. And again, before anybody comes into the comment section with it, United cannot buy Wharton, Baleba or Anderson in January. Forget them players. Angelo Stiller, by Romano's reckoning, is also off the table for Manchester United. So then you're looking at the Gomez, the Conor Gallagher, and one more I'm going to talk about now before we get on to all of the comment section, because there is a story that is now doing the rounds regarding Ederson again. Ederson, another, well, old target. We touched on him lightly yesterday, and there's more information on it today, which is, and it's come from Travella again, which says that there is an expectation that conversations between Manchester United and Ederson will resume soon. There's more stories on this as well. There's a lot more on this, in fact, with Manchester United actually, well, with Manchester United looking to get back into conversations with it and what's actually happening. I've just seen some more news come out. Right, yeah, so we've actually had, I'm just checking through some news that have just come out here. Right, okay. We've had a lot of updates come out from David Ornstein and The Athletic, all in the last 10 minutes, actually. I'm going to have to change my approach to this now because I'm just reading through quite a bit here. So I'm going to go through all of this news that has just dropped in the last 10 minutes, everybody, as well. Quickly, I'll run through it that's just come through now. Right, so from Fabrizio Romano saying that Manchester United are keen on Joao Gomes, obviously then telling us what he's just told us on his video, like it's there for everyone to see. So these are the stories going out now. Barcelona have a €30 million option to make Marcus Rashford's loan permanent, but it's currently uncertain whether they plan to activate it. So far, there's been no sign from the club that they intend to pursue a full transfer for the forward, who turns 29 next October. Now that, again, goes back to what somebody said yesterday on Marcus Rashford, and that's from a different source, not The Athletic, by the way. Oh, it is from The Athletic, actually. It's from someone else at The Athletic. Right, okay. So there is a full Man United breakdown from The Athletic coming out this morning. Right, so Marcus Rashford, no sign of him staying at the moment. Nothing there at all with Manchester United. And it looks like no conversation has been had between them and Barcelona. Let's not forget, we're still entering December and he's still got the second half of the season yet. So if Rashford continues to perform, then there we go. Nottingham Forest, no. Manchester United are interested in Elliot Anderson as a number 6 option. The 23-year-old is under contract until 2029 on 100 grand a week. So it would take a huge fee for Forest to sell. No formal talks yet, but every player has a price if his form it keeps rising. David Ornstein. Now, with the Athletic as well, this time Laurie Whitwell. Carlos Baleba is still on Manchester United's midfield shortlist, but Elliot Anderson has now become the primary target. United are also monitoring Adam Wharton, a move that could affect Baleba's prospects. More and more talk here of Baleba being pushed aside with what's going on. Ornstein has also confirmed, now he has said this, but he said this the other day as well, and this goes in with what Joao Gomes, the Joao Gomes story as well. Manchester United sources deny any interest in Joao Gomes. Wolves also confirm no contacts or talks have occurred between the clubs. Now, Ornstein said this the other day, but not many people picked up on it. Manchester United are interested and are monitoring Joao Gomes, but no one at the club is willing to say that they are. Look, this has come from Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio Romano. You're batting them two journalists off against Ornstein. Take what you want from it, but it doesn't change the whole picture for Manchester United, which is, are they willing to spend on players that are not their top targets? And quite clearly from what Ornstein, Whitwell and everybody else going on at the Athletic right now is their top target is Elliot Anderson. It's as simple as that. There's no one else that they want in terms of their number 1 prime position that they want to fill in this team. So Elliot Anderson is number 1. David Ornstein also says Man United retain an admiration for Antoine Semenyo. So, like we've been waiting, there is a understanding that Manchester United actually want to go for Semenyo. It's whether or not they go for him in January when it's not the key position they need to fill. That is, I think, the best way to look at it right now from what's been said. But Laurie Whitwell again there. Elliot Anderson has now become Manchester United's top priority in midfield. That is set. That is done. So that is news just coming out now. Also, on top of this as well, and this is also from The Athletic and Mike Critchley, European and Saudi clubs are monitoring Bruno Fernandes' situation as summer departure remains a possibility. Bruno Fernandes looking likely to be out of Manchester United if the right deal comes in, is how I read that. The possibility is there. Someone's going to have to come and make the right deal and make the right offer for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes falling out of form this season will make it easier for Man United to sell. The cry for him and the issue of not selling him last summer will obviously be brought back up because we could have got more. And that is definitely on Ruben Amorim because he was the driving force behind keeping Bruno Fernandes. So you can't argue about the money if you're going to back Ruben Amorim because he wanted him to stay. It's not worked out, and the plan of playing him in midfield is failing as it is at the moment. Whether or not that gets better, time will tell. Manchester United led the chase to sign Conor Gallagher from Atletico Madrid, where he seeks more playing time and a return to England. So Conor Gallagher as well in the headlines this morning. It's all going off this morning while we're actually live here. So this is really interesting, and again, it's definitely going to add a little bit more heat to the press conference, which is coming up. The press conference is coming up at 1 o'clock today, everybody. We're going to be live covering that here on Forever United TV, so make sure that you are there for that. Laurie Whitwell, journalist, he'll be there at the press conference today. He's the one writing these reports as well, alongside his colleagues at The Athletic. So realistically, when you look at this, they've done a bit of digging here, haven't they? I think, and this is where we're getting this story now. But Bruno Fernandes open. Well, I think he would be open at the end of the season. I think that's clear. He said that himself. There were conversations about him wanting to stay when United were doing well. Obviously, when things are going good, everyone feels positive. But from what the Athletic have said there and what's happening now, I feel like there is a bit of momentum towards the summer rather than January, and that's concerning me a little bit. I must admit, at the moment, if you were asking me if we're going to buy anyone in January, the only ones that are really standing out, there's 3 players, and we're probably, I'd say 3 to 4 out of 10 chance of signing them. It's Conor Gallagher, obviously Joao Gomes, and Semenyo. The fact that United, apparently, according to David Ornstein, and what he said today about United saying there is no interest in him, or no one is saying anything about Joao Gomes. Does that tell us anything? Can we believe that? It's David Ornstein, so we would, wouldn't you? But then again, Romano has said that Joao Gomes would walk to Man United. So who do you believe in all of this? You choose which journalist you're backing anyway on this. Right, let's get some more comments on everything that we've just talked about. There's a lot to get through there. I know, so much news coming at once. The time for reliance on Bruno is over. We spent a fortune on our front line. Let them cook. Get us a solid dynamic midfielder. Now, Ogard out, says Ant with a super chat. Thank you, mate, on that one. Again, there is a poll running right now. What result do you predict for Manchester United this weekend? Win, lose or draw? 41% of you are saying lose. Confident fan base, I see then again. The third player we buy should be a left side attacking player or winger, because I'm pretty sure after Monday we're going to drift back to a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2. Could change when AFCON comes around the shape. It's wishful thinking, isn't it, with Ruben? But still, you never know. If United had got rid of Bruno 2 years ago, you would be supporting a championship side, fella. Clueless. Is that Gary? That can't be obviously at me, because you know what my stance is on Bruno Fernandes. I'm guessing that isn't aimed at me. This is the thing, people don't do their research. Barca are smart. It literally makes no sense to buy a 29-year-old on that much wages when just a few years back they could have even paid players. Just on that one, Flyboys, a little bit wrong, because Rashford is willing to take a massive pay cut, and 26 million is not a lot of money for a player that is performing the way he is and putting up the numbers. So that, again, you can talk that, yes, that is true in a way, but the figures are not quite there, and they're not backing up what you said there, really, because 26 million is nothing. If Rashford does take a big pay cut, like he said he's willing to, according to reports, then that deal happens. It just depends on Rashford, I think, that move now. And Man United will just stand their ground with him. Hopefully, he does come back and we sell him for more. Maybe PSG will take him. I don't know. We'll see. Rashford is a pain in the ass for Man United, and I just think they want this saga over. I think what we've got with him is it's more about with Marcus Rashford, I think, is now how much Man United can get at the end. Like, he will go in the summer. I just don't know if it's going to be Barcelona. They might even try and do another loan. Like, United could lose out completely here, but they've created this mess themselves again. And this is like what we were saying before. This is the problem that we've got with INEOS trying to defend Ruben and use this as a defence for him, because he hasn't had the same support as other managers, perhaps. It's a mess that was created before. But Bruno Fernandes to leave on, well, I don't know what money it's going to be. What do you reckon in the chat that Bruno Fernandes would go for, people? Right now, what do you reckon someone would pay for Bruno Fernandes? Give me your thoughts on that one. Aren't Rashford, Sancho and Anthony still on loan? We still have a deal with all them when we think they are gone. I think we see them drag on in the summer. No, Anthony's gone, mate. Anthony was sold to Real Betis. That deal is over. He's no longer on United's books. Sancho contract runs out at the end of this summer, so he'll leave on a free. Marcus Rashford, Carl, is the only one that is debatable whether he leaves or not, on the circumstances that you're describing in your comment there, mate. Sancho, definitely. Anthony's already gone. So that's the stance right now. We're not going to get anything for Sancho. We're just releasing him. His contract is up, and that is it. It's older. It's over. I would like for Rashford to come back if he is willing to work hard. I would not like that, King, mate. Definitely not. See you later. would Bruno move to the Saudi Pro League and get us more money? People are talking now on Bruno Fernandes. 40 to 50 million seems to be the general consensus and prices on Bruno Fernandes in the live chat right now. But yes, Edison, we just talked about him, the other midfielder. That news completely got wiped out by the news that Manchester United are moving away from Carlos Baleba and are now looking towards Elliot Anderson. But this is not going to affect anything that happens in January. This is all for the summer and is a way off yet. And God knows who's going to be in charge or what's happening by then. So there is a plan to bring in Elliot Anderson no matter what. I think we can safely say that now. This being confirmed by The Athletic today. So that's all good and well, I think. And yeah, let's look ahead to the summer and get excited about that. But we've still got, another 6 months of football to play in the Premier League. That's the concerning bit. Do Manchester United go out and get somebody in January? You debate amongst yourselves and get into the comment section when the video finishes, everybody, because when we do go into January, we're going to be talking about Conor Gallagher. We're going to talk about Joao Gomes. Is Joao Gomes worth that money? Like we said before, that's the question, really, isn't it? Do United go there? Apparently, we're not going to, according to The Athletic. So that points to me again like really not looking good for Manchester United so far. They might try and they might see what comes up. It's an opportunistic transfer, like Romano said, for Gomez, but it's stuck between buying a player that probably isn't as good as what we really need or what we want, to having no one and sticking with what we've got and then worrying that we're going to get the same results as we're getting now and not really moving from mid-table. Once you've had Rash, you don't want it back. All right. Cheers for that, Ant, mate. I know where you're going with it, mate, but yes, didn't need to think about anything like that this morning. Joe says, Ballard in for Maguire, great in the air. He's a unit. Bruno, Casagate, Menu out. We need good deals. Adam Garassi in, Xerxes out. Garassi's too old and unproven in the Premier League, and I don't think United will make that deal happen. Ballard, yeah, I don't know. I don't honestly know. I need to see more of him. And again, it's one season in the Premier League so far for him, and unproven again. Not worth it for Manchester United, I would say, right now. Future, maybe then players get better and become targets for Manchester United, but we're not there yet. So that is pretty much a ton of news there to get through, isn't it? It really is. Don't forget, everybody, the link in the live chat and the top link in the description is for Legend London's Black Friday deals now on. With promo code FUTV put in at checkout, you could get up to 75% off this Black Friday on all Legend London gear. I've got mine on, my other shirt, my shirt underneath. The jeans are honestly the best jeans that you can buy. I'm telling you right now. I've not put them on because it's uncomfortable sat down in jeans, as everyone knows, and with wanting to break the news to you all, obviously. I need to be comfortable, but this, wow, yes, absolutely love it. Absolutely brilliant quality as well, everyone. So get on there now and take advantage and getting some massive discounts with Legend London. And thanks again to them for sponsoring us on the channel here and giving us the promo code and special offers. Fill your boots, everybody. Literally, because they have got footwear on there now as well. Get into that link in the live chat, everyone. By the way, we are going to be doing a predictor this weekend. So last week we tried it out. We sampled it for the first time. 25 grand still up for grabs this month, everybody. 25 grand, yes, I kid you not. The link is in the description. Some of the mods will drop it into the live chat right now. Get your predictions in. There are 8 predictions. I'm going to be talking more about this on the press conference video live this lunchtime for anybody. But 8 pre-made predictions for the game against Crystal Palace. The more that you bet on, the bigger the value of winning. You can win up over 300 quid on this game. But if you do enter the competition, or have done last week, you are automatically entered in again to the 25 grand draw, which is happening after this weekend, everybody. So this is your last chance to be in that draw. Link in the description there for the prediction league. The mods will drop it into the live chat for you right now. Anybody who's watching later on, get on that, because that is going to be big, and that is going to be massive. It's happening this weekend, everyone, so get onto it. It's in there now. I'm going to shut the poll down and finish up there. The most of you right now are not confident and think United will lose this weekend, unfortunately. We can't afford that, but look, we're in it, and I'm expecting a bit of a reaction from United. We'll see what sort of reaction we get from Ruben later on. Double lives, early doors today, everybody. So make sure that you're there later on. 1 o'clock we'll be live with the press conference reaction from Ruben Amorim, with all the other news going around the club as well. Could be a spiky one after last Monday's game against Everton. Let's see what mood Ruben's in, and let's see how confident he is going ahead of this weekend. Please give the video a like if you're enjoying the content, everybody, and please do get your comments in below. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all around lunchtime later on. Cheers, everyone.